How many of you have seen Indie Game the movie at this point? So wait, how many of you haven't? Wow, there is over 100 hours of pure joy left to be experienced in this room. I am not overstating when I say that Indie Game the movie is the single most important film to be released in 2012. The reason why is because it is being released in one of the most grandiose, wide-ranging spectrums of distribution, period, and it's not crap. This isn't some experiment with Steven Soderbergh for a couple $1 million about a doll factory being done day and date and saying, we've done something new. This is a hard piece of work done by two people putting their lives in for years and then turning around and saying, let's have direct download. That's true bravery. All right, so we're going to play the trailer for the rest of you that are about to find out what a great time you're going to have tonight when you see it.
I am determined to make video games, and I make video games because I can.
I mean, it's the sum total of every expressive medium of all times made interactive. Like, how is that not? It's awesome.
My whole career has been me trying to find new ways to communicate with people because I desperately want to communicate with people, but I don't want the messy interaction of having to make friends and talk to people because I probably don't like them.
And it's not just a game, like I'm so closely attached to it. And this is my identity. It's Fez. I'm Guy making Fez. You know, that's about it.
You know, making it was about, let me take my deepest flaws and vulnerabilities and put them in the game.
Like my name, my career. If this fails, like I don't think I'll work in games again.
I'm like in a fucking concentration camp. If you can't get the work done, then the past 2 years are basically worth nothing. No pressure.
All you've been doing for 4 years is look at this, like this close. Like you can't see anything else. You don't even see the mistakes in it anymore.
What the fuck is that?
And here we are. That's not the good parts, actually. That's just how the whole damn movie is, actually. And that's, I mean, it's critical. You got really just two talented people here. And I'll ask the basic question, which was, you know, what puts you making this movie versus any other?
Thanks for the awesome intro, Jason.
I do my best. Where it's deserved.
Yeah, it feels inside the actor's studio. This is great. Well, we're from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and we had done a short on a game developer in Winnipeg. His name's Alec Kaloka. He won the Independent Games Festival with his partner Derek Yu for a game called Aquaria. And we had done this short. It was commissioned by the Manitoba government. And that's sort of how we discovered this world of indie games. And what kind of fascinated us was that Alec had made this game, but it was such a personal game. And I know it seems kind of silly, but to us that was a new idea in 2009, that games could be personal. And through hearing his story and learning about the community and all the people that were so passionate about this work that he had made in his bedroom, we started pursuing this idea of, you know, maybe there's a documentary here of people making works that are so personal in video games.
Yeah, and then we actually looked around. We looked for video game design documentaries, and there weren't that many. You know, we couldn't really find them, and you know, there were a few out there, but it just seemed like this was a story that kind of was, you know, it should have been told, like should be told long time ago. Like it should have already, you know, been out there in many iterations. And then yeah, we just kind of heard all these other stories and thought there's a story here, there's a documentary here, and decided to kind of jump in and do it.
And we sort of, we hadn't actually done a ton of work when we launched the project on Kickstarter. We launched in May 2010, and we had shot maybe a week on what we thought would be this documentary. And so it was really born on Kickstarter, and we really didn't know what was going to happen. And luckily, Andy Baio tweeted about it. And that changed our lives, this tweet. And we ended up, you know, making money and gaining this audience through Kickstarter.
I mean, what made you say, I mean, you know, when filmmakers, I've dealt with a lot of filmmakers who are making all sorts of crazy films, right? And so you were like, well, we really got to raise some actual money here if we're actually going to do this thing. What made you just say Kickstarter at that time?
It seemed, you know, fresh and new and just so common sense. You know, like we basically, we both shoot, we both edit, and we own all our own equipment. And we wanted to make this movie about independent game designers. And like one of the things that we found so inspiring was, you know, the things of like open beta and the things that they like open devlogs, and they built their audience as they built their game. And we thought, well, why not do that with a film? And, you know, it just makes absolute perfect sense to do that with a film about independent game designers. So like a lot of our techniques was just seeing what we really loved about independent game design, or just, you know, open game design, and using that for the movie. And it just seemed like Kickstarter just seemed like, okay, well, let's make a trailer or like a test piece, put it out there, see if people like it, and if people like it, then that means we should make it. You know, not only did it, you know, get us the money we needed, which was really important at that time, but it also was this validation. Like the fact that we got fully funded within 48 hours of our, you know, launching it. We thought it would take about 30 days. And so it just blew our minds, and it gave us this confidence and this burgeoning audience that, you know, we needed to go forward and to kind of, we were pretty naive. We thought we'd get it done in about a year. And it's now been 2.5 years of 24/7 indie game. And we even thought in that year we could do a commercial gig in amongst it, you know, just kind of, you know, yeah, but no, it completely took everything over, yeah.
So any backers of this movie in the audience, by the way? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Appreciated.
Your
from
DVDs
all.
are in the mail. They just went out. They just went out.
Yeah. So you know, during the production, did your backers have an influence in the movie itself, or was it more, here's what's going on, and they just got to see it? I mean, did you feel like they were collaborating with you, or was it more, here's our financial backers, like a family, or?
They never really, not in content. In any ways, although every time we put out, because we put out a lot of video during the making of this. We put out 88 minutes of video, and you know, relatively produced video. We wanted to put out good stuff, and that was actually crazy to a lot of filmmakers that we talked to. They're like, "You're giving away DVD extras. Why are you doing that?" And so we put it out, and every time we put out something, we got, you know, more followers, more audience members, and it was kind of like this nice pat on the back. You're in the right direction. You're making something I still like, keep on going. So that was always great and validating. It did kind of affect timelines a little bit. Like we did, because we had, you know, 300 people in the beginning, and then that grew as time went on, we always kind of felt like we need to get it out quicker. You know, just because the internet, when you're paying attention to something on the internet, everyone knows this here, it's like dog years, right? Like if you're watching something for a year on the internet, it might as well be 7. You know, it's just, People have been like discovering the movie, and they would be, you know, they'd discover it, and it would come out, and they were like, oh, I've been waiting 3 years for this, and we've been working on it for like 1.5 years at that point. And it's just, there's this weird time warp, and it's hard not to feel that pressure. And I think it's actually a good pressure. Like the Glyph guys, you know, mentioned, like if we didn't have those backers, and we didn't have those people exerting that pressure, like the film was hard to do, and at many points, it was tempting to say, let's go back to commercials, because this is tough. Yeah.
So you did have 2 Kickstarters. There
Yeah.
wasn't any pushback. Was there much pushback about there being a second Kickstarter, or was it pretty clearly demarcated as this made the movie, this finishes the movie?
Surprisingly, no. So we did the first Kickstarter campaign in May 2010, and then in May 2011, we did another one. And it was mainly because the film had grown into something very different than what we had thought, and it had become potentially a theatrical film, a film that you could see in theaters. And we had done everything ourselves except for the wonderful music by Jim Guthrie. His stuff's available on Bandcamp. He's amazing. And we needed help. Like, we needed, some more money for like all the different sort of encoding and post mixing. And surprisingly, like, we made our goal in a day for the second Kickstarter campaign. And we had there had all these people that had been following all our little videos that had a chance to support us, and it ended up working out really well. So there wasn't a ton of pushback. I think that we just felt it. We felt like people really wanted to see the film, and when we found out that we got into Sundance, we were really excited, obviously, but we just wanted to make sure we would get the film out as fast as possible worldwide as soon as we could. And going to Sundance and learning about how real films are distributed, that doesn't always happen. It doesn't happen that quickly. It takes usually 2 years to distribute a film, and we ended up getting it out in 6 months, which we almost died, but we're happy.
So, I'll just touch on this briefly. I mean, you meet up with Scott at Sundance. You go from, well, we got into Sundance to now you're hobnobbing with the big names. I mean, how do you,
Oh, by Scott, you mean like Scott Rudin?
Yes.
The maker of The Social Network?
Yes.
Yeah.
You suddenly find yourself taking meetings, right? You go from, boy, it'd be nice if everyone helped us finish our film, our film about a barn, and then suddenly, oh, you're signing up for an HBO situation. I mean,
yeah, that
is
was
there anything
weird.
you wish you had brought to Sundance that you didn't bring with that?
We didn't know what to expect going to Sundance. It's a real industry there. It's a market. People know they buy and sell films. There's like bidding wars. It's like real estate. And you have like your real estate agent who is your sales agent, and he's trying to get people to bid up purchasing your film, and it's very Hollywood and very businessy, and we didn't know anything about this. And actually, a few weeks before Sundance, Scott Rudin's people saw the trailer and called us and said that they want to make it into a TV series for HBO, and we weren't really like. I didn't think they were serious. Like,
You didn't think it was Scott Rudin.
I didn't know who Scott Rudin was.
Yeah. And that's interesting to me also because news of that breaks in a PR burst, a PR blast, while you're in a screening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you come out, and the internet has finished the job of describing all the details for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's now become a comedy series,
Yeah.
situational reality comedy series based on the lives of the people you have been working with for 2 years in this film.
Yeah, that day sucked. Yeah.
And now the internet wants to eat you. How long did that take to die down?
Yeah. Who would think the
couple
internet
days.
would screw up details? The internet doesn't do that. No. Yeah, we were in a screening, and again, news broke, and it got described as the Big Bang Theory with Edmund Macmillan. And this is not what it was in any way, and we couldn't comment on it just yet because it was it was a leak, and then it came out, and we didn't know what we could say and what we couldn't say. So we had to wait a few hours before responding. So you just see internet anger just kind of bubble up and keep on going, and so it was it took us about 2-3 hours before we could finally comment on it. And just say, no, not a comedy. It's just because it was in the half-hour category. Someone labeled it as a sitcom, and HBO they don't do bad stuff. they don't do like sitcom stuff like that. And everyone was kind of missing all the other elements and just saw sitcom and then saw Red. They didn't see Scott Rudin or Social Network or HBO or anything like that. But yeah, that was the bad internet day.
So, and this is the thing that just impresses me so damn much, right? So good, you're at Sundance. Scott's got you. Doing contracts. It's coming. And at this point, you could hop into the big fat Hollywood Zeppelin and be like, see ya suckers, right? A story that's happened many times before. Devil and Daniel Webster. And what ends up happening instead, right, is, and I don't know how many people are aware of this, but right now, do it from the back, and if you're watching the movie tonight, do it from the way back so that there's no screen glare. But you can right now buy it on Steam, on iTunes, on direct, unfettered, DRM-free download from their website, and from VHX, you can stream it, right? This all happens at once, or you can buy the physical copy. No film has ever done this in the history of film. This is a critical experiment for the future. All of the, we think this is going to happen, all of the blogs, this is it. And you turned around and you went for this. DRM-free from your site. And that, I'm sorry, I'm getting a round of applause from you people, because this has never been done. You show me the other film that was HBO negotiation, Sundance, direct download. I'll buy you an ice cream treat from outside.
Well, we had seen things like video games have been selling direct, like things like the Humble Bundle, and we'd seen, you know, Louis C.K. doing his amazing stuff and Aziz Ansari, and yeah, so we knew that that was a possibility. So going into Sundance and getting distribution offers and people taking you to lunch and all this stuff, we were just really worried that if we took an offer with a big distributor, the film would take a long time to get out. People all over the world wouldn't be able to see it right away, because usually when films are distributed, they're sold by territory. So they come out in the US, and then a few weeks later they come out in Europe, and then Australia. And we knew that we had lots of people around the world that had supported the film, and we were worried that if we territorialized it, people wouldn't get it all at once. And we really wanted a same day all over the world on digital. So that sort of prevented us from going with a distributor. And the challenge in that is that you need a distributor generally to go into theaters. And so we decided to do that ourselves. And we did, like, inspired by some of the stuff that you've done. You toured your films before. Gary Huswit of Helvetica and Objectified and Urbanized toured his films. And so a week after Sundance, we said, okay, we're not going with a distributor. Let's book our own tour, go across America in 16 cities and do it ourselves and sell tickets off of Eventbrite, and that's what we did. So we toured like a band. And although we don't have any talent, we would show up.
People have turned to people who work for a living in computers and say, I get it now. Like, families have used this film to say, I understand why this matters to you so much. You know, I got a guy who I wanted to interview for one of my documentaries. I interviewed him. I didn't end up using the footage. And I happened to be following him because, I'm sorry, I didn't get you in the film. And he said his wife turned to him and said, take as long as you need to finish this thing you're working on.
Because of the movie.
Because of the movie. Ooh. So, no, it's got powerful effect. So you're demoting it. But okay, that's fine. It's your job to be very humble. In terms of also, we'll just go a little further on distribution. Is there anything that you're watching the movie of how this all came together, and the two of you, when's the part when you get up and go get some snacks because you're like, I can't watch that part again? Like, is there any part of distribution that you think a person coming in may not even understand that there's for me, it was E&O insurance, error and omission insurance, that horse shit, right? The craven fear. Is there anything for you that, like, you're like,
I think, like, we just learned how films get into theaters, and that was something new, and it was hard. Like, so we did the tour, but we also booked the film ourselves in 12 theaters in the States, which we were kind of proud about. And
like theatrical bookings.
And theatrical bookings and stuff like that. We didn't know how this all worked, and so it was a learning process to be touring, booking all the theaters, working out the deal with iTunes and Steam and VHX while we're actually on the road, selling T-shirts, scanning your tickets, making sure the film plays from the projector. Yeah, that was the hard part. Yeah.
Okay. Any filmmakers in the audience? Oh, I see. Okay, a few. They're too busy. Is there a lesson in? I mean, okay. Right now, you got, like I said, the 6 or 7 distribution channels you're running simultaneously, right? Is there anyone that is you can decide how you want to put this. Is there anyone that's like not doing as well as you'd like, or one doing way better than you would like, or one that, I mean, you are the first film project on Steam, which is crazy, right? I bought it from Steam just to see what would happen, and it lets me know 326 people are playing Indie Game the Movie, right? So it's a thing now.
Yes.
It's like, this guy's doing Borderlands, this guy's doing you guys, this guy's doing...
Yeah, and that's one of the exciting things about it, where we tried to put achievements into it. And I think eventually we are. And then we were laughing because we launched and it had a bug. Our movie had a bug, which was strange. But yeah, no, Steam has been excellent. Steam has been fantastic. And it's basically Steam and then iTunes and our own website are doing about the same type of business. And they're all, we're incredibly happy with all of it. Yeah, I think like one of the things that surprised us just into this world of distribution is just worldwide territories. Like we never really thought about, the fact that this might be licensed on Israeli television, and it is. So there's just all this weird opportunity of this, traditional form of distribution that we are discovering. And like going into distribution, like everything that we did because it just made sense. This just made sense to get our movie out this way, and we never wanted to kind of shun traditional distribution. So going into Sundance, we were like, well, let's embrace traditional where we can, where it doesn't interfere with our vision, because there are good things there that we can kind of grab hold to, and so it's this kind of doing these new things and then also discovering all these traditional distribution modes that still hold up and are still good.
Right. Okay. How much time do we have left, gentlemen? 5 minutes. Excellent. So, black or white answer. The film has turned a profit, right?
Yes.
It's turned a profit.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So you're not living off the whatever. And you've gotten to travel all over the world and everything else. And
yeah, it's sort of the crazy thing that we didn't realize when we started this project was the film now plays instead of selling it to distributors, we just work directly with community groups around the world to book screenings. So it's really neat to watch, a screening happening in Cape Town and all these kids watching it in Cape Town, or it played, in Australia and it's playing in Scandinavia for a bunch of times. So it's just really neat. We never realized how much the story of independent creation would reach so many people around the world. And we're going to be going to some of these places. We didn't get to go to a lot of these places, but we're going to Iceland, which is kind of amazing. But yeah, that was a really neat thing, just realizing how many people around the world are touched by the same thing.
Let's see, do you know of any works that have been inspired by your work? Have you been told of anybody starting up now where they weren't going to before because of what you're doing?
We've gotten really fantastic emails of people who took up game design, or maybe they had started game design before and then it let it drift off and it reignited something in them. So nothing, because it takes a long time to make a game, no one has pointed to something and said, I made that because of this. But really fantastic, touching, tear-inducing emails that happen every now and then, and that's lovely and fantastic. It's great.
Okay. So is there anything else, and I'll ask each of you, that you want this audience, the XOXO Festival, to know, either about your project or a lesson learned you wish that people knew, anything about Kickstarter even? Anything that's sometimes in your mind you think to yourself, man, I wish more people knew this, because this is,
Yeah, well, I think the deadline thing is huge. It's just we thought this movie would be done in 2011, in early 2011, and it was not. It just kind of kept on going and kept on growing, and that's the nature of a documentary. We should have known that to give ourselves more lead time. And I think a whole bunch of people in this room know just how much maintenance goes into Kickstarter. Or just maintenance goes into building a fan base, really, anywhere. It's just so many emails and so many tweets and so many Facebooks, but it's all worth it. It feels like we built an audience to a point that we were hitting the ground running on launch day, and it seemed to be created by one email, one tweet at a time. It paid off, it really did.
I think the thing that we learned also was how empowering and amazing it is to sell your own movie from your own website. And we were able to do that through VHX. They're going to talk tomorrow, but it's so amazing to just sell direct and to have that direct relationship with people and hope that, we hope that because now we get, everyone's email who opted into the mailing list, that these people will come with us to the next project. And that's kind of one of the big benefits of doing this ourselves, was to have that direct relationship.
Because that would not exist if we went traditional at all. Yeah.
So these guys are showing their film as one of the shows tonight, and I mean, and the thing that sometimes people don't know, but like we're all buddies. Like I do my little geek documentaries, and I know you. And yesterday we met the guys who did the Tetris Masters movie, and the guy who did Tilt, the story of Pinball 2000. And so we all kind of talk and share. None of us are like, oh, not that guy. He'll steal all my ideas on how to record. There's none of that. And it's a very healthy environment. I think I've contributed a little bit of footage to you guys to help you with your thing. You guys have reminded me that life is not a terrible shit pile. So back and forth, it's really been equivalent. So again, you should really see this movie tonight, or just buy it and watch it right now, and and enjoy the movie. So thanks for your time. Thank you.